What the fuck was that? Oh, it's just Crypto, that's alright. What's he doing? What's he doing? No, Crypto, no, no, no! Hello kids, it's Helispookter! I just realised how stupid I look in this. I'm gonna take this off right now. It's meant to be all like flower power and peace and love, but I just look like a flower girl. What a waste of a fiver. So a few videos ago I had a look at this weird little nugget of love and had a mostly fun experience. Great characters, silly B-movie plot and aesthetics, solid gameplay, but yet it was mostly fun. With some annoying little details like a lack of a map screen, some small little glitches, some of the missions were annoying, side missions weren't very good, and there was like a real lack of satisfying progression for Crypto. But back in the day I enjoyed it enough to buy the sequel. I bought this one not long after buying the first one actually, and I did put it in my PlayStation 2 and played it for like half an hour or something like that, put it on a shelf and didn't really have the urge to play it again until now. But starting this channel again, I thought this series would be a good one to look at because I can finally have an excuse to like see the whole picture.
I've gone with the PS4 version again, and when I got it, the price had been reduced from £16 to £6.50. Got myself a bargain. It was the same week the date for the remake got announced, so that's probably why. We're back in safe hands with Pandemic developing the game and THQ publishing. Keeping with the familiar, we have John Albrecht and Richard Horvitz reprising their roles as Crypto and Pox respectively, which just fills my heart with love. So we're playing as Crypto 138 in this adventure in the year 1969, which is 10 years after the events of the first game. I legit actually died during the sequence at the stupid unsubtlety of it all. 138 is a clone from the pure Furon DNA harvested from humans, giving him a unique appendage, bestowing him with the title of The Package.
I love this game already. 10 out of fucking 10.
Pox is up on the mothership when it gets destroyed, killing him. He manages to save his mental self though and download it into the Holopox unit, so he's still here in spirit. Behind the attack is the KGB, who have set up bases all over the world, so Holopox and Crypto set off on a trip to find out the KGB's plan and bring them down as revenge for destroying the mothership and Pox. First mission sees us talk to a quirky hippie called the Freak. So I go up to him, the mouth animations stop working and Crypto just starts sliding all over the place like some greased up prick!
Well, this is a really bad first impression.
So I restart the mission, play a bit of the game, and the bastard controller dies.
A higher power does not want me to play this game.
Okay, so I found a spare controller that I had apparently forgot all about. I have been knighted, Sir Dipshit. When I started the game up, I immediately noticed this cool start menu. It's a little less elaborate than last time, but it does set the tone to a slightly different one from before. More like a Bond action spy movie than an Alien B movie. The theme is even a reworked version of the original theme, just orchestral and Bond-esque. The initial game is paced fairly well, introducing new and old gameplay styles quite naturally. Crypto controls mostly the same, so those who have played the previous games will know what they're doing in regards to manoeuvring and combat. But of course a lot of new stuff has been introduced that we'll need to get used to. Gone is holobobbing in favour of body snatching. I was a little unsure of this at first because of the finite amount of time you can spend in a human body. Beforehand, when you took a human disguise, it was pretty much unlimited so long as you kept scanning humans' minds to keep your concentration charged up. But here the time you spend disguised is dependent on the lifespan of the human host, and the concentration meter is gone entirely. But in the end I came to think of this as a preferable change. You kind of have to think about your route and how far the host will take you, if you're going to get noticed while you're doing it, and how to distract if you get noticed. Best of all, I'm not hearing the same repeated lines of dialogue when scanning minds. This is only ever needed to be done to gain information to further a mission, thank God! Body snatching also opens up other strategic options, like who to body snatch. Certain NPCs will only talk to certain kinds of people, and if you want to reduce your awareness or increase it for whatever reason, you can body snatch an authority and call from a police phone to make the orders. So in the first mission we body snatch a hippie to go and find the Freak, scan some minds to find out where he is, but this location means nothing to me without a map screen. Wait?
Oh my god, it's beautiful! It's beautiful!
I enjoy this. It's not blindly going from point A to point B following a waypoint. You actually have to gather the information and using the map screen get to that location before the waypoint appears. It opens up the gameplay style to be more open and free with the way you want to approach missions. It really feels like the open world adventure that the first game wanted to be. Although admittedly the system does get overused somewhat and does make some of the later game missions a little bit repetitive. The in-game radar is also really useful this time with the outlines of buildings and landmarks, which helps make navigating around more claustrophobic settings like cities much easier. It also shows the locations of side missions this time so you don't have to travel towards a stupid golden beacon in the distance. Crypto's mental abilities have been overhauled as well. As previously mentioned, the concentration meter has been scrapped, which means you can PK things endlessly without having to worry about it. A small touch that I like was NPCs would notice the objects you were controlling flying in the sky and conclude that it was you doing it regardless if you were disguised or not. It was just another level of awareness that I really appreciated. We also have a distraction technique like last time called Free Love, which makes everyone within quite a wide berth stop and dance. There was a similar thing in the first game, but I never really used it there. Here, I was constantly using it. It was beyond helpful when body snatching so that people wouldn't notice it happen. It has a funky guitar riff to go along with it, but it's the same tune every time, so it did get a teeny weeny bit aggravating by the end. Another new ability that I used all the time was transmogging. It allows Crypto to transform inanimate objects and vehicles into ammo for his various weapons. I absolutely loved this. It was quite cumbersome in the first game looking for ammo sometimes, as areas often only had a finite amount, and when it was gone, it was gone. Here I always have access and never really need to worry about going out my way to find more. There's also the protect ability where you can hypnotise enemies to aid you, and the forget ability so people forget about Crypto, but I didn't use these two so much though. A brand new ability called the Mind Flash is introduced as well, which allows you to momentarily stop time if you're feeling overwhelmed and need a quick escape. I definitely underutilised this one though, and generally just tried to fight through tough situations, except for this one occasion where I heavily exploited it. Mental abilities are upgraded using gene blends. Last time we travelled to the mothership for upgrades, but since it has been blown to smithereens. Gene blending is basically an abduction technique. Grab your saucer, abduct a wide variety of human types such as hippies, KGB, army, airborne.
You fucking scouser.
From fucking Lancashire!
And then blend their genes together to receive upgrades. For example, abducting enough cops in an area will allow you to body snatch them at twice the rate. All the areas have specific gene blends to help with body snatching, but there are also common gene blends which require abducting people from various nationalities to gain an improved ability. These are where it's at. They provide more useful improvements like increasing the amount of things you can PK and transmog, and the range of people who you can use Protect and Free Love on. I had a small issue here as you can only access a couple of these lists at a time, with the new one appearing after completing one. This did lead to a lot of backtracking to previous areas to get a human of a specific nation. Luckily, if you abduct a few spare humans, they do get stored for future use, but it was so annoying having to keep constantly going back and forth between areas just to spend a few seconds there. I previously didn't really enjoy the saucer all that much in the first game, but here there's been a lot of improvement. The altitude can be changed now, which makes aiming easier. There's also the drain function where you can drain energy from vehicles to power your saucer, negating the harder to come across health pickups from the first game. I hardly ever died in the saucer. Actually, I don't recall dying at all in the saucer. The saucer moves like really slow though. I mean, it's faster than Crypto on foot, so it's the best option for travelling between landing zones, but fuck me. I thought I was missing something like a button to travel faster or something, but no, it just really goes this slow. I found in general there was just less emphasis on the saucer for missions. I mostly used it just for travelling across the map. The weapons for the saucer all returned from the first game too. I could really feel a difference between all three of this time, and the Quantum Deconstructor was fucking mad OP. It took out like entire screens of enemies. There was a new weapon called the Anti-Gravity Gun, but I barely used this at all. I found the Death Ray Sonic Boom Quantum Deconstructor combo to be enough to get me by. It was kind of the same with Crypto's weapons. The ones returning from the first game were the ones I used the most, and the new weapons introduced were horribly underused. The Dislocator I used maybe 3 times, and that was mainly just because I forgot what it did and wanted a reminder. The Burrow Beast was neat. It was so creepy to see this giant creature just appear out the ground to eat humans. This is such a scary thought that there could just be a giant monster hiding just ready to numb up your legs.
I'm gonna spend the rest of my life upstairs. Bye.
The Meteor Strike was so fucking awesome. It does exactly what it says on the tin and was really good for destroying buildings and big set pieces without having to take to the saucer. As much as I did love this, it ended up being really situational and I rarely used it. The final new weapon was my favourite of the new additions. Gastro was the janitor up on the mothership who now has his own hologram unit and aids Crypto by shooting at enemies. I horribly underutilised him. Fully upgraded, he just destroyed everything. And I just loved him shouting, "Go go Gastro!" I hate myself for not using him more. The Zap-O-Matic Disintegrator AI on Detonator and Anal Probe all returned from the first game too. And again, my go-to is the Disintegrator Ray, which is fun to burn fuckers alive. The wider array of enemies equated to a range of strategies to take them out, so these 4 weapons never properly became obsolete. And they all function the same apart from the anal probe, which instead of needing charged up now requires ammo and for you to shoot at their butts. The anal probe still causes a human's head to explode and their brainstem to come flying out, but we're not collecting the DNA from them now, they're instead used to charge up the mind flash ability. Where the DNA was used as currency before, that here has been completely scrapped, and this game's equivalent of the probes is now the currency. In the first game, the probes were just collectible MacGuffins. Their only reward was DNA, which was much easier to come by completing minigames rather than searching high and low for these hidden objects. In the sequel, we have Furotech cells, which we can find individually around the different levels, as well as being rewarded them for completing missions. They're much easier to find this time too, as 1. The levels have clear boundaries so I know how far to look. 2. I have a map screen so I can get an idea of where I've been. And 3. They are on the radar! I love this! I love this! There's 40 to find in each of the game's 5 levels, and my strategy was to take to the saucer to give me a larger view of the area through the radar, and if I saw a little green square, I would land this baby close to it and go and pick it up. Similarly, there's 50 alien artifacts to uncover in the game. They go towards getting the Burrow Beast and are indicated as red squares on the radar, but I'm really fucking dumb and blindly thought that the red square meant the same thing as it did in the first game. An enemy. Oh shit, an enemy! Oh wait, no, it's just an alien artifact. Whew. Oh shit, another enemy! Oh wait, it's just another alien artifact! Hang on a minute. You can take the Furotech cells back to your saucer to upgrade not only your weapons, but also the saucer and Crypto shield and the jetpack. Upgrading the jetpack was really helpful for me as a lot of the Furotech cells will be on the roofs, so a higher elevation is key to collecting them all. The upgrading isn't really any more in depth than it was the last time, it's just more accessible and less grindy. Like, I did notice how weak Crypto felt at the start of the game and how all the upgrades were gradually making him ultra OP. But if you want to upgrade everything fully, you will need to find all the Furotech cells in the game. And you know what? I wanted to find them all. I wanted to scour around. Seeing that glowing green in the distance was so exciting. I wanted to do all the odd jobs to get the rewards. I didn't want to do all this stuff in the first game, it was tedious and unnecessary, but it's like every little thing I thought needed improved upon has been improved upon. Mission structure has been improved too. You can head over and complete a story-driven mission if you like, or you can basically just do whatever else you want instead. The pace of the story is driven by the player, plus there's mission checkpoints too, so you don't have to just start all over again when you die. There's other characters woven into the main story this time too. There were other characters in the first game, but there wasn't a lot of interaction between Crypto Parks and the cast of side characters. But now we're directly working with or against other humans. They're not super in-depth amazing dynamic characters by any means, but they hold their own and add to the game's narrative. The most important new character is KGB spy Natalia, who works with Crypto throughout the game. They help each other out in the infiltration and intel gathering of the KGB, as well as working together to eventually take it down. Crypto has a mad crush on her and puts some moves on her for like the entirety of the game, and it's so funny, his confidence is unwavering. When talking to NPCs, you usually have a choice of dialogue to instigate a conversation. A lot are optional, but I found myself going through these optional dialogue trees just to see the characters interact and grow more. It's a new side to Crypto as well, like his package has changed his thoughts on humans. I mean, yeah, he doesn't care about well-being, he has no empathy, he still just wants to kill a bunch of people, but he has a new investment, if you will, in the human race, and it's fun to see him change. And I'm like, girl, you ain't going with no Furon, but as time went on, I'm like, girl, why you ain't getting with this Furon? I think I've got a crush on Crypto. I like the British spy Ponsonby as well. He was very proper and for the Queen. He starts off as an ally, but it's quickly revealed he is in fact the head of the UK branch of Majestic. Its American counterpart is who we brought down in the last game. When we kill him, he reveals he was the last Majestic branch in the world, confusing Crypto as he only took down one other force. So are there other aliens on Earth? The missions themselves are a lot more varied this time. It did make me look at the previous game in hindsight, and relative, it really isn't anything on the sequel. Rather than just going from point A to point B and killing people on the way, here, I'm killing a guy with a hippy-trippy rainbow gun, escaping from the Majestic headquarters in London with Natalia, and fighting Godzilla in Japan, sorry, Kajira, and the way we track down our next destination using the map screen makes it a little less mindless too. There was less emphasis on stealth and lots more on action. Not to say the first was lacking in action, but the stealth felt a little bit tacked on. There's a lot of sort of protecty escort missions, and it sounds like your eyes are rolling, but they're a non-issue. Protecting Natalia is never hard as she can really hold her own, and anything or anyone else has a really generous health bar. Exploring different countries helps to keep the game fresh too, as it really adds to the diversity in the environment. We visit the hippie-infested Bay City in America, the right proper English of Albion, the biggest stereotype of Japan in Takashima, the frozen cold USSR-inspired Tunguska, and the moon-based home of Project Solaris, headed by the KGB. Obviously my favourite area was Albion. The hazy streets of London were full of silly references to British culture that I relate to. Sat there with my big old British cup of tea, cause I'm English, I am! I liked Takashima as well. All the different parts of the terrain were really distinct from one another. There were small details like cherry blossoms falling from the trees that made some of the set pieces really beautiful. But I can't make my mind up if this area is offensive or not. Like, I wasn't offended, but it's hard to draw the line sometimes between stereotyping and borderline racism. It's up to your own personal preferences really, I guess. I kind of see this as a satire on Japanese media, but it's a bit iffy sometimes.
Mighty Morphin Power Alien!
There's a wider variety of enemies now. It's not hugely different, it's still mostly humans, but fighting humans from all different nationalities does spice things up. Each country has its own unique human type to the area, but the ninjas of Takashima can fuck right off. They move so erratically and quickly and have super annoying throwing styles, just ugh. We also have infected humans to deal with. It's fairly simple to take them down. They can be cleansed with a shot from the anal probe or just flat out killed with enough shots from the disintegrator ray. So the source of this infection has come from spores introduced by the KGB, headed up by Milenkov. The spores originate from a race of aliens thought to have been wiped out in the Martian War with the Furons ages ago called the Blisk. But Milenkov's intentions seem unmotivated until the revelation that all the leaders of the KGB have been Blisk. Blisk need a radioactive environment to survive, and were working to turn Earth into a barren wasteland perfect for the Blisk to survive in. Project Solaris up on the moon is in fact a super weapon that when fired on Earth will infect all of humanity and make the planet perfect for the Blisk to inhabit. The Blisk themselves are quite tough to take down. Their shields can be taken out with a Zap-O-Matic before they're killed, and then your weapons can be upgraded to be effective against the Blisk. A Zap-O-Matic and Gastro combo is really fun to use against them. So Natalia and Crypto work together to bring down the Blisk base on the moon. Oh, look at Crypto in a spacesuit, he looks fucking precious! They achieve their mission, but Natalia is mortally wounded by Milenkov, who then reveals his true form. The final showdown with Milenkov is kinda underwhelming, it's just shoot at him until he dies. Escorting Natalia through the Blisk base was a little more enthralling, but the whole conclusion could have used a little more oomph. After defeating Milenkov, the game kinda just ends, and we see a cutscene of Crypto and Pox on the saucer sometime later. Crypto's chilling, and then he gets a bollocking from Pox for cloning Natalia. Happy ending for Crypto, I guess. Ew, why did I write it like that? I like the story though. Crypto is saving the world, which is a little backwards from the title of the game, but it was for completely selfish reasons. It's part of pride thing because it's a Furon territory and get off my property, you knob. And partly Crypto just wanting to get his end away. And I guess needing the humans to extract the Furon DNA from them or some shit. I think I preferred this story with its bigger cast of characters, more things at stake, and the writing was really funny. The humour often revolved around not so subtle innuendo, but I'm quite immature, so this was pretty funny. The NPCs say a lot of funny things when they notice Crypto, and Crypto taking the piss out of Pox for being dead is just great.
I do all the fighting while you just sit around eating bonbons.
In case you hadn't noticed, Crypto Spiridian, I have no body!
A lot of the missions were really memorable. Takashima especially. I loved escaping the volcano, it was really intense, and then fighting Kajira in the saucer. It was quite a tough boss battle, as whenever she destroyed anything her health would regenerate, so I just had to completely lay waste to the city. I also thought the whole mission protecting the North American Shipping Association spaceship when landing on the moon was just nuts. Wait, North American Shipping Association? NASA! You're fucking crazy, game! And it takes place in 1969? This is the actual moon landing? And how did they not notice the massive amounts of life and things trying to kill them and the fucking alien? What is happening? Apart from the main story, there are a lot of side missions to do in this game. And they are actual proper side missions and not just mini challenges like last time. We meet new characters which have their own motivations and personality. Some were a lot of fun just because Crypto was being a dick. There's a whole category of side missions all about ruining people's lives. Like, why? What an absolute arsehole. This is so funny. I like the one in Takashima where you have to destroy the guy's car, which is his pride and joy, but you need to keep him alive so that you can really hurt his feelings. and then you do it to him again. This is bloody hilarious. But too many of the side missions revolved around taking a specific human disguise, talking to a person, scan some mines to find a location, and then usually take a person out there. Tunguska was probably the worst for this, and I was really ready to leave that level when I was done with it. At least this time, if you fail a mission, you have the option to restart rather than having to travel back across the map to start the mission again. The biggest side quest is almost like a side story that takes place across a few levels. Arkvoodle is the god of the Furons, and Crypto is thought to be the son of Arkvoodle, as he's the only Furon with a dick. So we start a cult and try and recruit as many people as possible to worship Arkvoodle to bring about his second coming. I was really worried initially, as the first mission was just convincing people to join, and then the second mission started off the same, but no, I had to perform a miracle to convince people to join the cult. The best bit is this guy we recruit to be the manager of the cult, Shamalama. He promises to give us a super weapon, which we find out will be given to us after finding 30 of the 50 alien artifacts, which he does, to be fair, and that's how we get the Burrow Beast. But Shamalama gets a bit too big for his britches and declares himself leader of the Arkvoodle cult and acts like he doesn't even know who Crypto is, so Crypto takes great pleasure in killing him. So I really liked this mission. I mean, it was sad that such a funny character was getting killed off, but I get it, he needs to go. So I kill him, and it was really easy, but he immediately came back. So it turns out Arkvoodle has given Shamalama the same amount of lives as Crypto has lost during the game. So I had to kill him 24 times.
Don't die 24 times. That's too many times. So embarrassed.
But there is this one side mission that is infamous for being virtually impossible, called I Left My Parts in San Fran, Bay City, and it's fucking tragic. Pox wants to contact the Furon homeworld to send another mothership to retrieve him and Crypto. We collect all the parts to make a satellite and take it to the top of Quake Tower to make a call. Now this is where it gets tricky. We need to defend the tower as Pox talks to the various Furons to try and get help, which should be easy, but there's too many tanks that spawn in too wide an area, and the saucer is so fucking slow. I just kept failing and thinking I was really shit at the game until I googled it, and this is a mission everyone seems to have an issue with. Even with a fully upgraded saucer, it's ridiculous. I was getting really annoyed at it because there's no checkpoints, so if you fail the defense part, you don't restart the defense part. You have to rebuild the satellite again and take it back to the tower again. I'd refined this by the end and was brilliantly efficient at it, but it takes time, and I just couldn't be fucked. So I found an exploit. Use Jeanne Blinded to fully upgrade the Mind Flash ability. This way the ability lasts longer and takes half the amount of brain stems to recharge again. Land the saucer next to the tower and stop time, and Pox's conversation keeps going despite this. Then use this time to extract brain stems from humans to recharge the Mind Flash, so that when it wears off, you can just restart it again until it's over, and fuck me, this conversation goes on and on and on. The conversation ends when Pox concludes him and Crypto are alone and will need to take out the KGB themselves. I hate that, because I did this mission right near the end of the game when I was already trying to take them out. The whole thing kind of plays out like a story mission, not just with the dialogue, but it has a cutscene during it too, which no other side mission has. It's almost like this was meant to be a story mission, but it was too difficult for people to get past early in the game, so instead of balancing it, they just relegated it to side mission. I mean, just speculation of course, but it's definitely out of place. But I did it. I felt dirty doing it this way, but it's done. And I did everything else too. Got the platinum trophy to prove it. 100% doesn't really get you too much apart from a platinum, but getting all the gene blends gives you access to artwork, music and little videos. I like the video Salad Days with Pox and Crypto, as they commentate on the stuff that happened in the first game. It was just so funny.
I looked rather good that day, Crypto.
You're a hologram. You look like crap.
Post-game you can go back to other areas to finish stuff off, but I had been thorough and only had that one side mission that you can only unlock after completing the story left to do. It was just kill loads of Blisk that are left on the moon. More because it's embarrassing that they're on your territory rather than anything else. It took ages though, because you have to defeat like 57 of these in total or something, which isn't hard, it just took ages to bring them down. There's an option for 2-player this time as well. I managed to borrow another controller so we could have a look at it. You play the story in split screen co-op. The performance of the game takes a hit obviously with a frame rate drop, but it's not unplayable. Graphically it takes a hit too. The graphics in the 1-player are pretty decent on Crypto, Pox and the Saucer. Crypto especially has a lot more detail, little things like his head having a pulsating glow now, which looks really cool. But NPCs look a little dated, and there's a lot of textures and set pieces that don't fully load until you're quite close. This texture pop-up is particularly bad in 2-player though and can become a little distracting. There's an annoying tethering system whereby if one player strays too far away from the other, they will respawn next to each other, which can be a little disorientating. Overall, playing the game in 2-player is inconsequential to anything, and it's just easier to play it in 1-player, honestly. There are some 2-player mini-games you can play through. There's dueling, where you're randomly given a weapon and have to try and beat the other player with just that weapon. And there's PK tennis, which is pretty funny. You just throw a human back and forth with the rules of tennis in play. It's easy enough to exploit it, you just drop the human on the other side of the net rather than firing them at the other player, as it leaves less time for the opponent to react. But they're the only mini-games. I was underwhelmed when I was in Bay City and there was 3 2-player games on the map, but 2 of them were just PK tennis. A saucer game to see who could cause the most damage or something might have been cool here. Actually, when piloting the saucer in 2-player, the second player doesn't get a second saucer, they instead take control of a turret, but it just looks so wrong. Like, what is wrong with this? Why does it look like that? And yes, we tried the Coit Tower defense mission with the extra turret. It didn't work.
Okay, this game was great. I did not expect that. I hate myself now for not playing it sooner. It really is the definition of a great sequel. It took everything that annoyed me about the first game and fixed it. It built upon the foundations of the first game and just took it to new heights. Unfortunately, this was the last Destroy All Humans game developed by Pandemic, as from here on out, we've been passed on to other studios. The next one in the series is a Wii exclusive with a questionable title. I mean, it can't be that bad, right? Oh, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Hey everyone, thanks for reaching the end of the video. You're insane and I love you. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, of course, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram, links down below. I'll see you next time for Big Willie Unleashed. Goodbye.